Things I wish I knew before I became a truck driver. So today's video is all about things that I wish I knew before I became a truck driver. Thank you for joining me. If you are new to the channel, welcome to the channel. It's Truck It Prowl here, and today we're going to be talking predominantly to beginners and people that are new to the industry. So what would I wanted to know before I got into the industry? Well, the first thing that I would have wanted to know when getting into the industry is how many hours I would have been expected to work. Now, obviously this can vary from job to job, but in general, I didn't expect most jobs to have the hours as long as they were. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not stupid. People did tell me that the hours are long, but sometimes you kind of take people's word for granted and sort of think, yeah, he's probably exaggerating a little bit. But it is true, we do a lot of hours. If you do 10 hours in a day, that's a good short day. But you've got to expect that some days you might be doing 12, 13, 15 hour days. So that's something that I wasn't quite prepared for, especially in the first few jobs I had where you were getting pushed to the maximum hours pretty much every week. However, that has got better with time as I've progressed in my career and moved from job to job. I have sort of found my feet, and the job that I'm currently doing, I do generally do about 10 hours a day. Sometimes a little bit more often than not a little bit less. So yeah, it is one of those things you have to work your way up to. Now, another thing that I didn't expect when I became a lorry driver, yet again, might be a bit obvious to some of you, but at the time it didn't really occur to me in my head, was how hard it was to keep the weight off. That's right, you will end up with boobs if you don't get to the gym or do some form of exercise. Now, you might be lucky that one of those people that has a really fast metabolism, like my friend Ashley Howell UK, check his channel out if you get a chance, and he's really skinny. But don't get me wrong, it will catch up with him one day. He'll probably get to about 40 and have his middle age spread, so look forward to that one, Ashley. Also, something that I wasn't expecting when becoming a HGV driver was the fact that you might go to the same places over and over and over again. Like now, this job I'm at the moment, I'm at Sittingbourne. I come to this place more often than not, and it's something that I hate doing, but it's part of the job and you've got to take the rough with the smooth. You kind of expect when you become a lorry driver that you're going to be flitting off here, there and everywhere all over the country, different job, different day. Well, some jobs that is the case, especially if you're a tramper, then that is more likely to be the case. However, there are going to be days, weeks, where you're going to end up doing the same jobs here and there over and over again. So that wasn't something that I fully prepared myself for. Now, another thing as well is your tachograph. Now, when you're doing your test, learning your theory and all that, you think, that'll be something that I'll learn to do now. Well, no, you're wrong. So basically, manual entries, you're supposed to just learn them as you go along. Just randomly know how to do them, because other than other drivers showing me the odd day here and there, which isn't often because you don't often get to go out with other drivers, generally you just have to figure it out yourself or watch a YouTube video like this. But that's another video. So yeah, I wasn't expecting to be so uneducated with tachographs. I was expecting it to be a bit more like, this is what you do this, you do that, blah blah blah, like, and know it all. But there's a lot to learn on a tachograph. I'm looking up there because that's where the tachograph is. It's a lot to learn, and there's so many different things that can go wrong really with the tachograph. Probably wasn't until about a year in where I sort of really thought, you know what, I need to get to grips with this, and started to learn it a bit better than I probably did know at the time. Now, don't get me wrong, they're not the most complicated things in the world, but if you don't know, then you don't know. It's as simple as that. Now, it's not just tachographs that you need to stay up to date with, it's also all the legislation that comes within the industry. You need to know what's going on, heights of your vehicle, bridges, all these different things that you'll need to know being out on the road. So yeah, it's just one of those things where you have to keep on top of it, just refreshing your knowledge. And I suppose that's kind of where the CPC courses do come in. With that said, I'm not a big fan of the CPC courses, as probably are a lot of you, because it does feel a lot like you're being taught to suck eggs. However, there are some courses like the Taco CPC course, which I would advise you, if you do need to do a CPC course and you're sort of like, I don't really care which one to do the Taco one. If you're not up to date on the Taco one, it's a really good course to do. Now, another thing that's probably not so important to me these days, as I have a family, is the social life aspect of the job. Now, being a HGV driver, it can mess up your sleep patterns. Some days you're getting up at 4 a.m, some days you're getting up at 7 a.m, finishing at 5, finishing at 6, finishing whatever. It's so varied of start times and finish times in most HGV jobs. I know there are some jobs where they have their regular start times and finish times, but I'm guessing they're sort of few and far between. So it's something that you need to understand, that if you're somebody that likes to go out and have a drink and have a good social life, then it's going to be a hard job for you to do, because one, you can't drink on a weekday because it's just not worth getting pulled over and getting breathalyzed. You'll lose your license, and that's the end of that, really. So what I would advise is, yeah, just make sure that you're not someone that wants to go and be a party animal, because it's not a lifestyle for that. Now the next one is tiredness. Now, it's not a physically tiring job. The majority of HGV driving, at least, isn't physically draining, but it definitely can be mentally draining. Concentrating on the road all day does take a lot of mental concentration, and you'll be surprised once you do your first day of HGV driving how tired you will be when you get home from that first shift. I was amazed when I got back from my first day, the amount of concentration that was going on. It gets easier, obviously, as you get more experience, but obviously when you're a new driver, you're so hyper alert, it takes it out of you. You get home and you just feel exhausted. And this is something that ties in with looking after your health. Now, there's going to be a video coming up of mine soon, so this is a little teaser, if you like, where basically I've done a 2-week diet of my friend who's a trucker and is rather larger than your average trucker, should we say. And it basically goes through the effects of your mental health and your physical health that it can impact by just not eating right, and it just messes up everything from your sleep patterns to everything, basically. Honestly, I was so fatigued doing it, but anyway, I'm not going to go on about that. We'll leave that for that video for when you get to see that one. Now, route planning is a very important one that you need to be aware of. Now, today we're very lucky with GPS systems that we get to use. Our phones are brilliant for this. Just make sure you go on Google Maps, zoom in, look at the area, look at any sort of little tight roads that you might come across on your way to the job. It really does help you so much these days, the technology we have, and just the simplest little thing can save you a whole day's worth of bother, because there's nothing worse than being stuck and having to wait for someone to come rescue you. So there you have it. Those are the things that I wish that I knew before becoming a HGV driver. So if you have liked the video, then don't forget to give us a little like and subscribe, and share with us some of your insights of what you found that you wish you knew before getting into the industry. And I shall see you on the next one. Goodbye.